What's going on? Why has my sun come back? The sun's decided it doesn't want to shine now. I wanted to record more than one video today. I wanted to do some reviews, and I clearly should have done them this morning, but I decided to watch television instead, and I'm questioning the size of this person's garden because they will not stop mowing. Why does it take so long to mow? I don't know. I never mowed before in my life. That's for my brother to do. But still, he's taking the proverbial. He is taking the proverbial. It's going to really get on my nerves. I don't have that good of a nerve, and he's getting on it. Hi everyone, my name is Charlie, and today I have a review of The Monogram Murders by Sophie Hannah. The Monogram Murders is Sophie Hannah's take on the character of Hercule Poirot, made famous, well, the original books of which were written by Agatha Christie. Not gonna lie, now I'll tell you the backstory behind why I read this book. When I went away with my mother, this was the book that she picked up in the Whitby bookshop. She began reading straight away whilst we were there. We weren't even there that long, and she got through 70 pages, bought it, took it back to the B&B, and just read it straight through. The mystery within the book compelled her to continue to read, because the mystery within this book is so easy to solve that you read to the end because you think you must be wrong. And this was why my mother gave me the book, and she said to me, read this, give me your opinions on it. So we've discussed it, and now I'm going to review what I think is a terrible take on Poirot. I, as a reader of Agatha Christie novels, hate this book. I cannot stand this book. Originally, I gave it 4 stars on Goodreads, and then I had this discussion with my mother, and the more we talked and the more I realised how I actually felt about the book, I realised it's a 2-star book at best. Hate it. Detest it. Bad! So basically, I read the interview in Writing Magazine where Sophie Hannah said she invented the character of Inspector Catchpool as her way into Poirot's world. This Poirot does not feature any of the characters that we find within Poirot apart from Poirot himself, and he doesn't even feel like Poirot. He feels like a caricature version of Poirot. He feels like Sophie Hannah went in knowing that he sometimes throws French words into British conversation, he's a bit cleanly, he has his little grey cells, and he talks about those little grey cells all the time in this 400-page book, and I think that that is another problem. It is too long. When we look at the original Agatha Christie books, we see they are at most 200 pages, and that's in the very slim hardback editions. I believe now when you get a book of this size by Agatha Christie, they end up being about 300 plus pages, but they make the font a lot bigger and the pages are a heck of a lot smaller. Maybe modern publishing standards meant that this book had to be so long, but there's kind of a reason why it didn't. It begins with Poirot in a cafe, and this woman runs in fear for her life. As this woman runs in, Poirot is clearly worried for her safety because he is Poirot. And then when he goes back, he talks to Inspector Catchpool. He discovers that 3 people have been murdered in a hotel, and that the 3 people who have been murdered in the hotel have all been lined up in an orderly fashion in separate rooms facing the door, with a cufflink in the mouth that is monogrammed. Catchpool ends up sent off to this village to explore it, gets told some cock and bull story that immediately tells you who the killer is. Then we have another 300 pages to get through. And basically this story gets reiterated as they try to find out the mystery. There's a lot of convoluted stuff that really is convoluted, and I think it's even too convoluted for Agatha Christie. I think Sophie Hannah may have got mixed up with just who Poirot is and who the other detectives are, because I have never read an Agatha Christie book that tries to be as convoluted as Sophie Hannah's version of Poirot. It is a bit laughable, because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. There are 4 characters within this mystery, and 3 of them are dead. Guess who the murderer is? And then, there is one character. Just one. Just a little one. Just this one character who we have mentioned, who does end up having a little bit of something to do with the murder, but it turns out that she was just a red herring, and that the murderer is the murderer, and is just this person who's a bit hysterical. And I despise the way that Sophie Hannah wrote women. Surprise, surprise, surprise. I know that Agatha Christie does not write the best women. I know that she writes characters that aren't really characters, they are stereotypes. I know that. Agatha Christie was writing at a different time to Sophie Hannah. Sophie Hannah could have had some great female characters. Miss Lemon within the Poirot novels is one of the greatest women in fiction in my eyes. Although she is said to not have a lot of imagination, that's great. I really like the character of Miss Lemon, and I wanted her in here. Even Ariadne Oliver. There are so many of Christie's characters that could have been used to not be so shit, but they weren't. And, well, I just ended up really disliking this book. The mystery convoluted when really it was one of the most simple crimes to solve. If you've read this book, feel free to talk about it down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.